Hey everybody, just going to do a real quick walkthrough, specifically the song Holy Spirit. This is a little more complicated. It's not a typical 3-chord, 4-chord song. A lot of unusual chords. Think about it this way. An artist has, red, blue, green, yellow, and black colors to paint with. And if they're not able to mix and blend those colors, then you have a very boring picture. But if you're able to take different shades of red and different shades of green and different shades of yellow, you have more colors to work with, and you can create a more interesting painting. So look at music the same way. If you only know a major, a minor, and a seventh as your only chord variations, then you have a pretty basic color palette to work with. But if you know the difference between a D5 and a D2 and a D minor and a G major seventh, you have much more ability to have more interesting sounds, more interesting music. So, having said that, let's just work through Holy Spirit. The intro on the chord sheet reads D5, then G major seventh, and D5, G major seventh. So a D5 is basically this. D5 is the root, the 1, the D, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the A. So D5 is simply root in the 5th. If this was for a guitar, it'd be a power chord. A power chord is just a no thirds. So D5 is simply that. G major 7th is basically a G chord, and you take the root, the G, down a half step. So there's a G major 7. G, regular G chord, and then the root down a half step is a G major 7. Kind of a jazz chord. So the intro is basically a D5 to the G major 7, back to the D5 to the G major 7. If you notice, my right hand is moving very little. My thumb is staying on the D, so it kind of anchors my hand, so I'm not having to bounce all around and find these notes. I'm already there. D5, G major 7. Okay, and that takes you through the verse 1, verse 2. It's those same 2 chords over and over again. All right, so on to the chorus. Of course, now in the chorus we've got a regular D chord. The next one is G major 9. This is the weird one. G major 9 is a G major 7th with an added 9. So we go back to, so for the chord is a G, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The 9 is an A. So a G major 7th is down with the root down a half step. So there's your G major 7th. All you're going to do is add the 9, that A. So that is a G major 9. Another way to play it would be to play, use your left hand for more than just one single note. So you got your basic G chord with your left hand, and you're going to add the major 9th, those 2 notes, the F sharp and the A, with your right hand. So you've got your D chord. There's your G major 9. Okay? E minor 7th. Typical E minor chord is, E major. To make a major a minor, you just take the 3rd down a half step. Okay? We all know E minor, so that's E minor. E minor 7th is just take the root note down a full step. So the E would be a D. So that is an E minor 7th. There's a regular E minor. And then just by moving your thumb to the D, now it makes it an E minor 7th. Just a little more interesting chord, something different. So right there's all the chords needed for the chorus. So if we start from the beginning of the chorus, you got your D, then your G major 7th, I'm sorry, G major 9th, I'm sorry, then your E minor 7th, then back to the D. So you got your D, then E, G major ninth, E minor seventh, then back to the D. It's a little unusual. You'll just have to kind of work at it and figure out what fingerings work best for you. An easy way to play that chorus where you're not bouncing around, and again, that's always hard to do when you're picking up your hand and moving it. It just makes it harder than it should be. And it's also usually more pleasant on the ears to keep your chords within a small area. So the chorus, the easier way to play the chorus chord progression is we're going to play a D, then we're going to do the G major ninth. My left hand's going to go up to the G. My right hand is just going to do all I'm really doing is adding this B. I'm taking this D and I'm adding the B with my ring finger. So back to the D, the G major 9, and then the E minor 7, and then back to the D. So D, G major 9, E minor 7, and back to the D. If you notice, my thumb stays on the D the entire time, so it's kind of my anchor point. So I can leave my thumb on my right hand on the D the entire time, and then I can kind of watch my left hand. I don't have to really pay much attention to my right hand because that anchor point stays the same. So there's the chorus. Now on to the bridge. The bridge in the recording, it sounds like, you know, the first part of the bridge, it just shows D5, D5. But when you listen to the recording, you can obviously tell there's some type of movement. So I think what's going on is your right hand will be on the D5, D and the A. The left hand will do basically what the bass player is doing. The bass player, and if we have strings, we'll be doing that. But basically, the right hand will stay in the D5. The left hand will be doing a walk down with a G, F sharp, E, back to F sharp, G, F sharp, E, and so on. The right hand just stays on that D5, a D and an A. But it's a combination of the two. You know, you have the bass player and a string player playing what you will with your left hand, and then you'll be playing your D5 here, and that's pretty much the first part of the bridge. The second part of the bridge is G major 7, which we learned from earlier, a G chord with the root of the G is the root, down a half step, and then number 2 chord is a D over F sharp, then your E minor 7th, which we learned from the chorus, then back up to the D over F sharp, then G major 7th, D over F sharp, E minor 7. So it just kind of does that same progression over and over. And again, if you notice, I'm using my thumb on the D, my right hand is the anchor point. So that thumb stays on the D for all 3 of those chords. So G major 7th, the thumb is on the D, D over F sharp, thumb is still on the D, E minor 7th, thumb is still on the D, and then back up to the D over F sharp. So again, you can kind of, you're not bouncing around, you're not trying to do D up here, you know, that's just hard to do. You're just going to keep it very simple. D, then E minor 7th, back to D over F sharp, now to your G major 7th, D over F sharp, E minor 7th, then D over F sharp. So that's pretty much the chorus right there. That's pretty much it. We'll work on some more songs later.